This is Tanner Fain reporting for my weekly friend report. On Thursday, I was mowing a lawn in Northridge. It was pretty hot. And I see this horse of a dog coming up. A red-headed owner named Kim. As this horse starts sniffing my lawn, it squats. It was a Great Dane. And Kim says, "Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna stand here while Ethel does her business." So I have this horse named Ethel leaving a present that is the size of an ox present, I would guess. Kim's talking to me the whole time. She seems very nice. She's telling me about how her Great Dane's name is Ethel because she loves the 20s. She wishes that she could have been born in the 20s, the roaring 20s. Everything about it was roaring. She even wore this dress with frills on the bottom of it. Anyway, took that dog about 4 minutes to do its business. Kim talked the whole time about the 20s. She said how much she loved President Wilson. So I guess that's great. And as she left, we exchanged pleasantries. She said goodbye. She cleaned up after Ethel. I said bye. I think that makes us friends.
So Mercer Boffy, you are my friend, and to prove that, I'm going to say the three things that I know about you, completely off the top of my head. It's Red Panda is Red Panda. It's where we met, the Chinese place, and we met in the Age of Enlightenment. Which I believe was sometime after the Middle Ages. And the number 12 keeps coming to my mind, and that's because it's the measure of your shoe size. Yes, right. And there you go, Mercer Boffy, my friend Mercer.
Dabney, please tell us about your friend Joni to prove that you've made friends.
Joni, yes, I have a friend named Joni. Joni, she's a friend of mine. I know her very well, and I know things that she likes, and I don't need any help knowing what she likes, but I know that she likes animals, lots of animals, sea otters, and elephants, and seals. Yeah, Joni. Yeah, we go way back. I know all her. How could she not be my friend if I didn't know that her favorite historical era is oh, I don't know, non-urban, non-Western, nature-related. Those aren't historical eras, would it, Joni? And of course I would know her shoe size because everyone knows their friend's shoe size. And Joni is a real person and she's really my friend, and her shoe size is, she doesn't wear shoes. So it's not applicable. And that's my friend Joni, who I really have as a friend.
If you don't do this video, we don't know that you have friends.
I do have some friends.
Then prove it.
Okay. This video is from my friend Deidre. Deidre and I, like, a couple months ago, and I've never told this to anyone. Deidre decided that she wanted a new dog. So we went downtown to the LA shelter, which, like 10 years ago when I moved to LA, it was like my 3rd day in LA, and I convinced myself that I wanted a cat, which now we all know I have like 12 of them. But Ryan Gosling was at the animal shelter, and I followed him around for like an hour, and then we talked about dogs. But this time, Deidre and I went, and when we were walking down the alley, we saw a time machine. So I was like, fuck it, Dee, let's do it. Let's check it out. So we go over there, and there's this like 8.5-foot time machine, and we get in it, and I'm like, Dee, where do you want to go? I really don't care. And she said, I want to go back to the time where gods and goddesses rule the earth. And I'm like, well, is that like now? Like, when is it? So we go, and there's like all these gorgeous ripped men in these awesome outfits and these beautiful women, and they decided to let us rule the earth for the day. But I can't tell you about that on this video because that's none of your business.
So you expect the government to believe this?
I don't care what they believe.
Hi Nancy, it's me, Lincoln. It's been a long time, I know. It's not that I don't like you or care about you or even love you on some level. I do. I just have become a little bit divorced from those feelings inside. They've kind of sank down to the bottom of my earth, underneath sediment of rock and layers of emotional shit, really. But oftentimes when I'm alone, I think back to the time, that one time in Cincinnati, at that 1920s jazz bar that we were at, right after we went to the Cincinnati Zoo, and you fell into the koala bear pit. And that koala bear scratched you across the face, and you were bleeding. Oh, and I brought you that rag, that dirty rag from the elephant pit to kind of help wipe you off. It was a tender moment, and it was really the moment that I think, well, I found out how deeply you care about koala bears, because when you let that koala bear scratch you like that in order for it to feel better and safer, I thought, what a gesture. What an amazing gesture. And I truthfully fell in love with you at that moment. It's been 6.5 years since that day, and I have not forgotten that, nor have I forgotten the fun we had at that jazz bar. Because when they saw you, the way you looked, and they played your favorite song.
What was the favorite song? Sorry.
It was Muddy Waters. Manna. I don't remember it, but that's because I'm not very good at relationships, which is why I've retreated into nothingness. But hey, this is for you, just reaching out to let you know that I do still care about you somewhere inside. And I hope you're having a wonderful life and surrounded by koala bears and jazz and nice koala bears. Okay, Nancy, thanks.
This is Tanner Fain reporting my weekly friendship. Last weekend I was up near Big Bear. I was practicing survival skills in the forest. I didn't realize how close I was to the ski area. Suddenly there was a man in the forest. He was dressed like a knight or something, except his armor was made of rubber, and he had a sword. He said, "Hi, I'm Matt Kaminsky, aka the Sloth." Turns out there was a Renaissance fair at the Big Bear Resort. I didn't know about it. Matt, aka the Sloth, told me all about these role-playing games that he plays and how it helps him make friends. He said, "You look like somebody who could use a friend." And then he told me about a special dice that he made for his role-playing games that actually had the number 10.5. We talked for an hour. I consider him a friend.
Hi, Megan, cousin Megan. Well, you're not really my cousin, because I'm Lincoln Chalk, but there was a time before I changed my name to Lincoln to hide from the world that we were cousins. that our dads knew each other quite well because they were brothers, which made us cousins. And I think about that time with a lot of joy in my heart. You and your brothers and sisters and Christmas and the times that we had there. It's 14 straight years of Christmas, I believe. And it's interesting because 14 is actually my favorite number, my lucky number. I've had it tattooed in my lower back for a long time. But none of that really means anything when it comes down to our relationship, which really, in my head, lives in the future. The past is done, and I have moved past it into something hopefully greater. And I hope in the future that you and I can meet, perhaps on Mars. That would be fantastic. If we both run the same commercial SpaceX flight to Mars, I would love that. And I think if we were on one of the first flights to Mars, that would be even better, because that would mean there's not that many people up there yet. And I can just see us having cosmopolitans, maybe ordering some hummus and crackers from the Mars crew, the SpaceX crew, going back to our childhood when we used to play kick the can. Maybe we could play kick the can on Mars. The can might explode or never come back down to the surface or get lost in a pile of Martian dust, but we would still be having those moments together in a much different way, a better way, I feel. And I just want to let you know that I think about that all the time. And you have a family now, so you could bring your family along. That would be fine. I've got nobody. I'm alone. But I like it that way. So we can be together for sure. We can hang out on Mars. I will need about 22 hours a day by myself, but maybe for like 10, 15 minutes a day, we can kick it on Mars. Okay. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, this is Tanner Fain with my weekly friend report. I don't know why I have to... My weekly friend report. This week I met a new friend. Her name was Christina. I had an extra lawn to mow, and I'd heard about this green way of mowing lawns with goats. So I went to Craigslist and I looked up lawn mowing goats. I find this woman, Christina. She gave me a goat for $9. It was some sort of a special to try it out. They're paying me $20 to mow the lawn. I figured that they can leave me $11. So I got a goat for $9. She said back in the 20s, goats mowing lawns were all the rage because, of course, there were no electric lawnmowers back then. So I found out why the 20s were not as great as the present. The goat ate my lawnmower. It ate my weed whacker. It ate the fertilizer. It did not eat the lawn. I still had to pay her $9. We talked about how silly goats are. And I made a friend.
Now?
Yes.
Okay, this video is for my childhood best friend, Karen, who used to be Newman, aka Pipes, because we played basketball together and she had really big guns. But now it's Nielsen. She's married to a real nice guy. I guess we met in a cow field. Karen lived on a farm, and we would go there for sleepovers and drink gin in the cornfields, and it was super fun. Our parents would go out of town, and then one night we drank like 7.5 glasses of gin each, and we decided that we wanted to do a flashback to the 80s, so we went in Karen's mom's closet and dressed up in all of her clothes and went out in the cornfields and went cow tipping, and it was a really wild night, and I miss those days. And I love you, Karen. See you later.
Hi, I'm Tanner Fain, and I'm reporting about a friendship. I met this guy, Bob Thoreau. I was eating at Norm's, the diner. I was sitting at the bar. I wanted to eat by myself. And this man came up. His name was Bob Thoreau. He started talking to me a lot. He started talking about how he wished this diner was from the 50s, and how diners in the 50s had stainless steel and checkered things and souped up Chevys outside or something. So I listened to him a great deal, and he asked me for his phone number because he said, for my phone number, because he said we got along and he'd like to hang out. So I gave him my phone number. He called 9 times. After the 9th call, I went to his house, and he introduced me to his cat, Oscar, and we talked a lot about the cat. Then he made me a paleo meal, and I went home. Bob Thoreau, one of my friends.
Carol Wires, this is Mike, your friendly neighborhood Lonanon counselor. I just want to talk a few minutes about how I met Carol and how far she's come. When I first met her, she was a bit of a prickly type, a porcupine, you might say. Really grumpy in the morning, much like your tyrannosaur of the Jurassic period. But this was all due to the fact that she was walking around this earth with size 9 feet, bumping into things, stubbing her toe, and generally being a bitch. But ever since we made our friendship stronger, I found her to be a pleasant, wonderful person, capable of fitting into society. Carol, the world is a better place with you in it, and thank you.
Hi, this is Tanner Fain with my weekly friend report. Last week I had to ride the bus from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. I had heard about drought-resistant plants, and there was some sort of conference there in Las Vegas, and since I'm a landscaper, I went to check it out. I didn't think about the fact that I'd have to sit next to somebody for 6.5 hours on the bus trip. I sat next to this girl named Kennedy. She was young, blonde, had a cheerful demeanor. She talked about eco-friendly building, which I guess was kind of interesting because it was building. It's kind of interesting for the first 30 minutes. And then I had to listen to it for another 6 hours. What I didn't know is that the bus was going to break down, and it would be even longer. 6.5 hour trip turned into 12 hours. Those first 6 hours were kind of like the dark ages before the plague. It sucked, but you had no idea how much it was going to suck. Anyway, by the time it was over, I wished an owl would come and pluck my eyes and ears out. But the drought-friendly plants were interesting. So that's my friend Kennedy.
Hey there, this is Mike, your friendly neighborhood Lonanon counselor, here to talk about my relationship with Corey, my greatest friend, Walker White, aka the Honey Badger, because of his relentless pursuit at life. This guy be dropping bombs on this bitch called life like a Cold War Russia, right? This dude is a 10, all right? He don't know when to stop. He puts out the funk till the funk drops out, okay? Get it, Honey Badger?